Let's welcome Representative Devin Nunes, House-ranking Republican on the House Intelligence Committee. Great to see you again, Congressman. What was your take when you heard the story about Google?
Well, look, this is the story of the last 3 years. Ever since the 2016 election, the left and the Democrats learned that it's not enough to just have 90% of the media on your side. You also have to run it through a funnel, and that funnel is Facebook, Google, and Twitter. They have to control that. It started right after the 2016 election. They said, oh, it's fake news is the reason why Trump won. So there is not a more important issue than this issue. The American people are being censored. Conservatives are being censored. The information that's flowing to the American people is being censored. It's just the bottom line. It's the most important issue that we have headed to this next election. I think it's very difficult for Republicans to win if this censoring continues.
Yeah, Congressman, here's what happened. It seems derogatory reader comments, just reader comments showing up on the conservative website, the media outlet, The Federalist. Negative comments about looting and rioting were enough for Google to threaten The Federalist that it would get kicked off of Google's advertising network. Google is the world's biggest purveyor and publisher of news, and it's an advertising behemoth. That's the story. It has massive power. It can bankrupt anyone it disagrees with by blocking them, including the little guys. Your take?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right about the demonetizing and being able to bankrupt people. But also going back to what you said, I think it's important for the audience to know it was the comments. It wasn't even the story that was written on the Federalist website. It was the comment section. And you know as well as I do, if you've ever, and everybody that's out there, if you look at comment section on any website anywhere, most of the time, you can't even track those people. So, and I promise you this, if I was to copy all of the supposed comments that were on the Federalist website, and I just copied those and went over and put them on the Washington Post or CNN or the New York Times, do you think there's any possibility, remote possibility, that Google would have done the same thing to those mainstream media outlets? Hell no, they wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's right. And they're virtually the same reader comments. NBC is in on this story, too. NBC basically worked on a story that they made errors in it. Google saying effectively NBC got it wrong in its coverage here, that Google never blocked the Federalist, as NBC initially reported. And critics say NBC here is particularly egregious, Congressman, because an NBC reporter brought the Federalist and the other site Zero Hedge to Google's attention, citing complaints from overseas left-wing watchdog groups. I want you to take a listen to Chris Bedford of the Federalist with us last night on this. Let's take a listen.
Well, I can tell you for certain that there's been a massive reaction on behalf of the Federalists and allies in Capitol Hill, allies in the media, and people just saying that this is flat out wrong to try to censor us. It's a very ham-fisted attempt by NBC News to try and censor, and I think it will be sorted out pretty quickly.
And watch the Federalist co-founder Sean Davis with Tucker Carlson last night. Let's listen to him.
Here we have a foreign unit at NBC that, with the Orwellian name, the NBC News Verification Unit. The irony there is enough to make you laugh. Seeking, with another left-wing foreign group, to deplatform an American media organization. We have a big audience and we have a lot of influence. We were able to stop this. Now, most people, 99.99% of people who get canceled or deplatformed by these little Marxist crybabies, they don't have any recourse. And it's what's happening to them that's the real crime.
Okay, Congressman, so an NBC reporter is getting criticized. She applauded on her Twitter account about her collaboration with these two overseas groups in Europe that helped NBC in its reporting get Google to go after the conservative sites. Your take on NBC here?
Well, look, NBC is part of the 90% that are extreme left, and the reporters are even worse than the companies and the management. So the idea that they would work with all these so-called nonprofit independent groups, there's no such thing out there anymore. There is no such thing as a truly independent nonprofit that's not engaging in politics. You know, a true fact checker, so to speak. Fact checker is only what is in one's mind. And that's why these internet companies were given these special privileges so that they're not treated like you, Liz, like Fox Business. They're treated differently because this was to create the superhighway so that everybody could communicate and there could be an open square so that companies could be developed and they could use that internet access. That's why these companies were given this exclusive capability under the law so they couldn't be prosecuted. But the reality is I mean, we can change the law, but I actually don't believe that these companies, I think Google already is not even, they shouldn't even be covered under this. And I think technically they're not. And I think if people begin to bring lawsuits against them, like I am against Twitter, I think you will find that judges ultimately will find that this is not gonna stand.
And what an irony that Google was moving to censor the Federalist for third-party reader comments on the Federalist website, as Google still wants that the government protection from lawsuits for third-party content on its website. You know, isn't there common sense here? Final question. Google doesn't need to go scorched earth and censor. It could just say, you know what, we're not going to show ads on the reader comments parts of everybody's website, right? Including the Washington Post, CNN, everybody. We're not going to show advertising there instead of censoring, to your point.
Well, look, I'm quite sure, as I said, the legal arguments are sound. It's just a matter of bringing the right cases in court. I'm quite sure Federalists would have a case in court if Google was to follow through with this, which it sounds like they've backed off. But yeah, just on the face of it, it flies in the face of common sense that you can go out and edit what people are commenting on it. That's the whole point that they have the law. They're supposed to allow that. That's why they have the protections.
Yeah. Congressman Nunes, always great to have your insights on the show. Come back soon. Great to see you again.
Thank you.